Hello and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 169 at scavengerlife.com. And Jay and I are currently in New York City.
Yeah, everyone always laughs. It's when I do this, but I feel it's important just to give a quick summary of what this is, just in case if you've landed on this and have never heard us before. We're a couple who live in a rural America, and we make a living full-time selling on eBay. And we post a couple podcasts a week, plus some videos now as well.
Yep.
And we post these on scavengerlife.com. So if you've just come across us...
If you stumbled upon us...
But like Ryan says, we live in rural America. You know, one of those counties that the future has left behind, where manufacturing has disappeared, and most people live on Social Security or a Medicaid.
Right.
And, but we happen to be it's New York right now because we used to live here.
And we have friends that live here who are away for the holidays.
And this is what our scavenger life is like. So our friends, who still have stayed here, a lot of our friends have left. It's New York like we did, because you come in.
It's expensive.
You do cool stuff, and then it's time to leave. They've stayed, and they've got a really nice apartment, and they let us stay here. We actually cat-sit for them. So we've been doing this the past couple of years now, maybe 3 or 4, where they go away. They've got regular jobs. They get 2 weeks off. They're in England right now.
They go visit family.
And I'm always like, when are you guys going out of town? Because they got a really beautiful apartment in Manhattan, in like downtown Manhattan. So we get this like free vacation, basically.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
So we were... What's the first thing we did when we got out of the train yesterday?
Pizza!
I was joking with Jay that I was going to like run out of the train being like, pizza!
That's right, a New York
$1
slice.
Pizza!
Because, it's almost like we flipped it on its head. Instead of living in an urban area and working there, because that's where the jobs are,
right?
We live in the country where there are no jobs, but we can
There's
live
a lot
there
of junk to buy
because of eBay. And then for vacation, instead of going out to like the mountains or something like an urban person does, we go into the heart of a city so we can eat pizza, go
sushi,
to movies,
dig through the trash,
and just like meet people. Walk around. I love it. Like, I got up really early this morning.
It was still dark out.
Just to kind of walk the streets. I really miss New York, and it's just nice.
One thing I don't miss is the bedroom window we're in. I heard some dude screaming his head off last night because we're kind of near a major avenue. And I was like, wow, you definitely do not have that in the country.
Right. And as scavengers, too, we're pretty good at this now. I actually have an old army bag. It's
like a duffel bag.
And we just went into our pantry at home and filled up, canned soup, peanut butter, bags of rice,
We basically brought like basic staples, because when you come to a city like New York, basic staples compared to where we live are expensive.
Like when we open up they don't have a pantry, obviously. They just have like
cabinets.
And we go in there, and a can of soup is like $8.
No, literally, I saw. I wonder if they're going to be listening to this. Like, you guys are crazy.
They're not going to listen.
No, but I saw these like little kale chips, and it was like this little bag of kale chips, $9.
Yeah, I mean,
what are you talking about?
It's definitely higher quality stuff because they go and they shop at like some gourmet food place.
Yeah,
but,
it's just it's so different.
Even if you go down to wherever Whole Foods or something, it's going to be it's going to be
expensive.
Cheap. So we bring the staples that we like to eat, and then we'll go today, and we'll go to Fairway, our favorite grocery store.
Yeah, Fairway. Well, there's so many great places. There's Fairway. There's the farmers market. Yep. There's Whole Foods.
And buy like some nice cheese, some fresh bagels, like a lox and cream cheese.
Don't even start because we haven't eaten breakfast yet. Yeah.
So that's
So that's our scavenger way. Like Jay basically brought a 40-pound bag worth of canned goods.
Exactly.
But what's funny is we're here for 9 days.
Right.
I mean, we'll eat all that and save money too,
And the whole time we're here, we're still selling on eBay.
Yep.
Those of you who have heard us, we always do this now.
Yeah.
We change our handling time, so when someone buys, it actually says you will get this in whatever
10 business days.
10 business days, and they can choose to buy or not. When they purchase, we immediately send them a message just to remind them, so there's no confusion. And most times, most buyers don't care because they're like, oh, okay, cool. I can wait a week, 10 days.
Right, exactly. Most people are fine. The only downside is it is right before Christmas, so I'm a little bit nervous that people are buying stuff for Christmas. But at this point, I don't think anyone's going to get stuff in time for Christmas, really. So I shouldn't worry.
I think even on the post office website, the 21st, I don't know. It might be down to a wire right now.
Yeah,
And we've noticed in past years that we sell actually quite a bit in January because people are getting gift cards.
Yeah.
They want to buy the things they actually didn't get from other people.
They return stuff, they get money back, whatever. Yeah.
And then, also while we're here, you guys get to know this as well. We take our photos of items in bulk at home.
Yes.
And then we write descriptions in Google Documents.
Right. Well, we write the titles and the measurements.
Google
I guess
Docs.
I guess that's basically the description.
It's not. It's not the full description.
Yeah.
And then while we're here,
we can just list
a list as well.
That's right. We can go down to the cafe across the street.
Cafe right here in this living room. I'm make my own coffee. I brought 2 pounds of coffee. I'm not spending $3 on a coffee.
Okay.
Okay. Let's
get into it here. Enough New York talk.
So let's talk about our numbers real quick, and then we'll get into other stuff. Okay. So our numbers this week is about the same as it was a week ago. We grossed $2,300.
Yeah.
And that's again.
It's
for
pretty
those of
steady.
You who don't know, gross means it's before expenses.
Right. So before any fees. That does not include postage. We never put that in there.
And inventory costs.
Inventory costs and fees.
So, and if you can go to scavengerlife.com, and we actually put our numbers in a bit more. We
break it down.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because we sold 43 items, and we sold 2 of those were on Bonanza.
Plus 2 on Bonanza.
Which isn't bad.
Average price it's $53, which is good.
Let's get our average price up to $100, Jay.
Shit, get to $500.
Oh man.
So that's I think pretty typical, and I'm sure some of you are like this too. It's pretty typical of a store like us that are selling weird vintage items.
Yeah.
Like when I love these guys. The people that are selling Amazon. I see it's numbers, the people that choose to post them.
Yeah.
They're selling 500 items in a week.
It's insane.
They're they gross $23,000, It's incredible.
But
then when they
net?
break down their expenses, it all evens out. So
that is it's a different way of doing things.
It's just a different model. So it's I love the thing, 43 items. It's like a small pile in front of you, but you can make a living off of that.
It is. It's cool. So some of the things we sold, and what's funny about these ones that I'm going to list, a lot of them sold within 24 hours, and it was a weird setup of stuff. So one was a vintage aluminum slotted spoon. This thing was cool. It was vintage. It was made in Germany or Switzerland or something like that. It was just an aluminum slotted spoon. I sold it for $30.
And it was it's one of those items that if you're at a thrift store, they just have a big box of just
utensils.
Stuff. But it's nice. So this is mid-century-ish.
Yeah.
It's engineered kind of.
Well, it's designed. It looked designed, and it was nice. Marked. So what's hilarious about some of these prices too is I'll get it out of storage and I'll be like, somebody's bought this for $30. I can't believe I put $30 on this.
But then you have to look at it the other way where, again, these are high quality items.
Right.
If you were to go into
Unique.
Crate and Barrel
Yes.
to buy a slotted spoon
A special
of that quality
design
from
slotted
Germany,
spoon. Right.
they would easily pay $30.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's, and so that's the thing. And it's all about how a person perceives it,
Right, exactly.
Like, I wouldn't pay $30 for a slotted spoon, but as Kate always says,
I am not my target
we
buyer.
are a target buyer.
Because I go to the thrift store and pay 4 cents for one.
Because I carry 40 pounds of food it's New York, so I don't have to buy it at the store. That's who I am. Okay, so we also sold
the next one.
a little matchbook.
Okay, so this matchbook is special because it's a matchbook from the Polynesian village in Disneyland or
From
Disney
like
World.
the 70s.
From the 70s.
Yep.
I have had this thing, I swear, for 3 years.
Right.
3-4 years.
Right.
Could not sell it.
And it only sold for $13.
But $13 for one matchbook.
Yeah, so it's like, a couple cups of coffee in New York. But it's just like one of those things where it's exciting. If you're a junker, it's like us. It's exciting when you find literally a piece of trash and
you sell it.
You sell it for $13.
Well, the thing about a matchbook, one single matchbook that you've had for 3 years, was the fear of not being able to find it.
Yeah.
Because it's tiny.
But
we found it.
Yep.
It was in the place it was supposed to be. So that was good.
I mean, and the things we're talking about now are kind of some of the weirder items.
Yeah.
We sold a lot of like bread and butter things.
Yeah.
Jackets. Pants. Like I've been enlisting a lot of pants, and pants have been selling.
Yeah, I'm really excited those have been
just
selling.
Just like a men's pants, But like
they're
$25, $35,
But when we were buying pants, we were trying to get really like the high end brands.
Yeah.
LL Bean, Brooks Brothers.
But so many people enlist clothes
and pants.
Yeah. So it's So another weird thing was we talked about this. We showed up to this auction about a year ago, and we were late, and we didn't have time to check anything out. So we made the biggest mistake of we just started bidding on things without having actually seen them.
Yeah.
They were just holding them up. So I bid on this box lot, and it was just like a bunch of kitchen junk. And
what was in it that you were looking at? Anything in particular? I don't know.
I forgot. It was just,
something.
So that's never a good thing when you go to an auction.
And you're
you
late.
always show up early and make a list of everything you want. Anyway, we sold some of the stuff it was like all these old, what was it like?
So it was all these old strainers.
Yep.
And spatula type things.
Right.
There was a lot of, I think it was 5, just weird.
From the 40s, a little bit rusted, some of them.
Basically primitive kitchen utensils.
Right.
And what primitive. No, they call them primitives. That's what they call, because you look at them.
Caveman,
No, primitive, you don't know anything about antiques. Oh my God. So anyway, what was interesting was when we first looked at this, basically it was that those were the detritus left at the bottom of the box. And I was like, you know what? Somebody's going to buy these as a lot and they're going to hang them on the wall.
Yep.
And they sold for $30.
I'm going to give you a big compliment here. So I think I'm always a little bit more let's just throw this stuff away. I'm just I
really?
tend to be.
I don't think of you like that.
Sometimes I'm like that because I get sad because
you get sad.
It's not what I thought it was, and so I get disappointed. But you're always good. We can save this. We can save the day, and that's another good example. You decided to bundle these things.
Yeah, that was a good bundle,
and it's true. I can see someone has a cabin. They have a farmhouse. They have a kitchen. They're trying to do a primitive look.
Yeah.
And they buy these and they're going to hang them on a
exactly.
wall.
I wouldn't do that because I don't want clutter like that on the wall. But
it's a look. Shabby chic, babes.
It's a look. See, now you think you know.
Copyright, TM, trademark.
Yeah, don't say shabby chic. We'll get sued.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing that sold, and this was Jay's kind of idea after talking to Mr. Customer Service, was buying knives.
Yep, we totally learned from him. I mean, those of you who talk to us, we will learn everything we can from you. And he was all about knives. He was like, I buy these knives.
Just any kind of knives.
That get split up. They always come in a set and they get kind of scattered around. So he finds these knives and he sells them.
And I'm not talking about like knives that hunters use or stuff like that. It's like kitchen knives.
Right,
it's like high quality. Yeah. So this was an vintage Echo, like chrome bread knife, and we sold that for $25 for one knife.
It cost 25 cents.
It cost 25 cents.
So 1,000% profit.
Yeah,
I think.
Is that 1,000%? It's at 100.
And we're art school people, so we don't really know our math very well. I think that's true.
You're good at math. What are you talking about? Okay, so this other one, real quick. I found this at a thrift store at the bag sale. It's a baseboard heater thermostat. So it's the little thing where you say high, medium, low on an electric baseboard heater. And the only reason I picked it up is because when we had our house redone, they put electric baseboards in, which we don't use because we use a wood stove. But I recognized the thermostat as the same one in our house. So I was like, I know those things cost money because we had to have them installed. And I sold it for $30. It was brand new. It was just like a little, didn't have a box, nothing, but it had never been installed. Dude, $30. Cool. That's a good price for a little thing you found on a shelf.
And then the last thing we'll talk about, just kind of, we're just pulling out the kind of the cooler things, is I found this old 8-track player. And the reason why I thought it was cool, it wasn't one that is on a table, like a deck. This is like a jam box.
It was like a portable one.
8-track player.
And it was made in Japan, so it was very
awesome. So it's the old school way where you could be cruising around on the street with a bag of 8-tracks and you could be playing 8-tracks.
Is that amazing?
I actually thought it would sell more, but it sold for $50.
$50?
Yeah.
I think because it didn't have a cord, so it only worked with batteries.
Yeah.
So we were kind of like, eh.
If you look at our numbers, we made, averaged about $300 a day. And so it's weird when you break it out and, and you talk about 25 here, 30 here, 50 here. All that stuff adds up,
But that day where all those utensils and stuff sold, it was like one after another after another. It was like all day long just selling weird utensils. Right. I was like, what the hell?
And, and that kind of leads into something I want to talk about. So Ryan's been making these videos every week.
Yeah.
Our
what sold videos.
Videos that you can check them out. And there's now, I think, 5 of them. And we're putting one a week, so they're kind of building up. But I noticed that some people get really like, how did you sell that for that cost? And we talk about on the blog this past week, like the owl. People are
freaking out over that owl.
Happen,
And part of it is I just put a high price on it. Yeah. I mean that is really literally why.
Well, I mean, we talk about doing experiments, and that's really, and there's experiments with just putting good prices on things, and we've talked about this. It's before when we started in 2008. We were the $9.99 people.
Yep.
We sold everything for $9.99.
Yeah.
And then we went up to $19.99, and we were like, "That's
crazy.
That's incredible. Like we're finding this jump.
$20."
And we even did that for a while. And so, I mean, we weren't talking about a month. We're talking about
like a year,
2 years. Where we're
then
selling,
we were selling these leather men's wingtips.
Yep.
And I started to actually do more research, and I was like, people are selling these for $60 a pop.
Can we do
Why
that?
Can't mine are just as good as it? So I tried it and it worked.
Right. And so it really was a long, I mean, some of you do this really fast and learn quickly. We were actually pretty slow at this, and we learned slowly that our stuff it's worth a lot. So, that's what's cool about these what's sold videos, because you can see, like, if you look at it in the right context, you can make really good profit from these things because it's being aimed at a very particular kind of person. The kind of stuff we buy and we talk about it. It's like we're aiming it at designers, or people that collectors, or people that are buying stuff instead of it, like I said, Crate and Barrel, or I don't know, a West Elm.
Pure One.
Yeah. I mean, they're buying this kind of stuff because really it's the same kind of quality. These design stores are really into like a vintage look, even though it's not a vintage item, and so that's a level of
Right, so why not
buyer.
It's funny because when I'm looking for lighting stuff or whatever, I'm finding stuff that's. Oh, yesterday I was looking for like coat hooks because I needed some more coat hooks, and I found all these like vintage style ones. They're reproductions. They look gorgeous, but I'm like, I want real vintage ones, so I'm just like digging deeper for the vintage ones.
And I promise you, more than half the people that buy from our stuff, we all hear these prices and are like, that's insane.
Right.
They look at it and they thinking they're getting a deal.
A deal, yeah.
Because you should just open up some of these magazines, Architectural Digest,
yes,
Decor, it's magazine. I mean,
or like go on some websites. There's this website called, well, we call it Who's, but it's HOUZZ,
right.
house.com. I mean, just look at the prices that people pay for a lamp or a rug. People pay great a sofa,
Right. So it's good. And then we've been talking in the comments this week about thrift stores.
Yeah.
And I think that's what changed for us was, again, for the first couple of years we bought specifically and only from thrift stores.
Right.
Just because we just thought that's where people buy stuff,
Yeah, so, where else can you buy stuff?
So it's mainly clothes and shoes, and there's some items, but
the majority is clothes and shoes. I mean, the whole middle of, Goodwill or wherever is clothes and shoes. But I think the thing, and we seem to talk about this every week, is, we've been getting several comments where people are like, I can't find those prices. I can't find good prices at my Salvation Army or Goodwill. You can't shop at those places anymore unless you have some discount coupon or there's some crazy sale.
People do, but they buy jeans for $8 and sell them for the 35 plus.
Right.
I mean, there's definitely a market there, but you have to be very knowledgeable. And you have to be very on top of things.
Yeah.
It's not like you're just pulling 25-cent items, where you can take a lot of chances.
Right.
There, it's a real strategy,
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. A lot of thrift stores now is just stuff's really obvious.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what they have. There's a price on it. There's a lot of people going there.
There's no negotiation.
Yeah. When people, think about when they come and they think about selling online. Well, it's like all of us did. There was a day when you're like, maybe I'll try selling online. Everyone goes to Goodwill or Salvation Army. Like, that's the entry point.
Yeah.
So for us, after a while, we were like, where are thrift stores getting their stuff from?
Right.
Can we trace it back further? Can we get closer to
the source, the real source?
So that's why, we started going to
auctions.
Well, first we went to flea markets.
Oh, the flea market, yeah.
And flea markets are like, there's some cool stuff here, but I'm like, how did this guy get this?
Where did this guy get it? The auctions.
And then these guys would tell me, we go to this auction on Friday nights. And we started going to that auction. I'd see those guys there buying stuff for their booth.
Yep.
And so we just started competing against them to get...
Exactly.
And then obviously a real source in are estate sales and the people that do buyouts,
Right. Because they go directly to the people who owned it.
We've talked about it, but we haven't done that yet.
What, an estate buyout?
Yeah, I mean, where like that's the real source where you would like actually, throw down $4,000 or $5,000 and buy out a
whole house,
estate, and then deal with all the stuff in there.
Yeah,
I think
crazy.
we like to cherry pick a little bit more than that.
I just don't think we can handle that volume.
Yeah. Or did you do something like Martin does from garbagefinds.com up in it's Montreal, where he's just digging around in the trash.
Everything he gets is free. Yeah. His website, if you go to his website right now, I mean, we interviewed him a while back. But his stuff, I just can't believe the stuff that he finds in the trash.
He's probably one of our favorite other guys online that does a blog about this
scavenging.
Kind of stuff.
He is a true to the core scavenger.
Right. He really does a good job too. He takes pictures of like piles of trash bags in front of someone's house, and then he tells a story of how he found the stuff. Then he shows you the pictures that he's putting then online to sell the stuff, and they're really beautiful. And you really
he's a
see,
great
like,
photographer.
I'm just like, it kind of makes me, my OCD, I get really nervous reading his blog because I think in that little tiny part of the world, he's finding these amazing treasures. So is everyone just throwing away?
Like amazing stuff.
And so just in the dump, there's all this cool stuff that gets,
like how much stuff, how much stuff has been thrown away that will never be found.
Like he finds like medals from
the
World War
wars,
II, gold coins. I mean, he finds iPods,
jewelry.
He finds art.
Just all this stuff that you're like. I mean, clearly someone's like, so and so died. The landlord came in and threw everything away and does not care. Needs to rent this apartment ASAP.
Or like, the parent died and the kids just come in. They took the flat screen TV off the wall, but then all the detritus from the man's life, they just like threw it into a bag. They just think it's trash.
Oh man.
So anyway, I mean, I guess our point is, as scavengers, that's what was how we evolved. Was we just started thinking of that waste stream. Where do things go? How do I
get to the source?
How do I get to that waste stream better?
Right.
And so that's how we've been able to build a business and also to have fun. It's part of it's like being a investigator.
It's a treasure hunter.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get a more fun job than that. You know.
And that really this is my. It's motivational. It's moment. It's just like really like
we need like a sound opening for that.
Well, just because like every week we get about 3 or 4 emails at least from people brand new. I just found your podcast. How do I do this? I'm so nervous. I'm so scared. Like I don't understand. And all we have to tell people is like you got to trust your gut. I mean, if you're a real scavenger, you just got to trust that the things that are interesting to you will be interesting to other people.
Trust your gut, and then do your research.
Yeah, and then do it's research.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
Right.
So our week this week.
Yeah, so I mean, speaking of...
You're like looking at me like, what are you talking about?
No, I thought that you were going to go on a little bit. So yeah, I mean, our week, we did a lot of buying. It's this week. We actually went to a thrift store, but it's one of these kind of church thrift stores. Our bag sale thrift store,
the cheapest ever.
And we found
this is crazy.
100 like a SodaStream set. You know what? That.
So I'm sure people have these, but SodaStream is where you can buy a CO2 cartridge and make your own like seltzer water and sodas and stuff.
Because we don't like to drink soda.
We just make
Coke
seltzer
and
water,
Dr. Pepper, whatever. We like carbonated,
just
water.
Plain water with bubbles.
And I mix it with fruit juice.
Or whatever.
Delicious. It's like an Italian soda.
Yeah.
And so we were going to a Walmart, and you can buy like a big crate of like soda water, and it's about like,
I think it's 64 cents a bottle.
It's
still really cheap.
It seems ridiculously cheap, but the crappy thing is then you end up with like 24 plastic bottles.
Yeah, you got to recycle them, but still
every couple of weeks. So we thought we would try this SodaStream, but we don't like to buy anything
because it's expensive.
So we were kind of keeping an eye out. And we found an old one that we got for free. Yeah, we found an old one that we used. We bought a canister for $30. And it's great. So on one canister that I think the fill-up is $15.
Yeah. So you buy the canister for $30, and then you bring it back to the store like Target or wherever, and you can exchange it for $15. So you get a new canister for $15.
Got it. So for $15,
yes,
you can fill up over 50 bottles.
It's like
of carbonated
60
water.
bottles. Right. Yeah, they say 60.
Right. So what it really came down to was like 5 cents a bottle or something.
Yeah, it was a lot cheaper, and you don't have to. They come with reusable bottles, so you just use the same ones over and over again.
So we were just at a thrift store, and I looked on the shelf, and there was like a new one. We have like the older kind. One. It says a new kind that has like a fancy electronic readout of how much is left in the CO2 bottle. And
it had a full CO2 canister in it, plus a brand new sealed one next to it, plus 4 bottles. I mean, this is like the bottles cost $10 each.
Yep.
And we were like, this doesn't have a price on it. It's allowed to go in the bag sale. We just put it in our bag.
So basically, we upcycled that, and that's now ours, and we're going to sell the old one we got. It's for free for probably $30-$40.
30-40 bucks. That kind of find is interesting because it's a couple of different things. If you're patient enough, first of all, we found the first one. We didn't buy it. We were like, oh, cool. We found this at another estate sale, and we used it. We loved it. And then we found a better one. Right. And I wasn't going to get a better one. But you know what's hilarious? I just ran out of the CO2 the day before.
Yeah, part of me,
It's so ridiculous.
I will hear us talk about this stuff, and we just sound like crazy people because we're just, it's just funny. We get very excited about not having to pay for anything. And, if you live in this country, in the United States of America, such a great place, there's just so much abundance. Again, if you have the time...
Yeah, it's time.
You can live a very comfortable lifestyle.
Frugal life.
Yeah, because
I think part of it, too, is...
why was it there? Someone got it for a gift, a $200...
SodaStream setup.
And they just gave it away. They're like, I don't want this.
And the second thing is, we happened to walk by it before anyone else put it in their bag.
Other people were walking by it. They're like,
I think most people just were like, what the hell am I going to do with that?
Yeah. But
I think part of the excitement with all of this, with anything you find, is like a weird serendipity where you're like,
right.
It's so weird that I happened to find this.
I think that's some of the conversation that was happening on our blog was people were like, I'm not finding this stuff. It's hard. Yeah. And it is a lot of just showing up. Like we just happened to be doing some work at this other house we have, and we were meeting with like a guy fixing our water, and we were just like, why don't we just stop by the thrift store? We're in town.
We're literally driving by on our way home.
And you know what?
Let's just stop.
9 other times we've stopped by there and gotten...
Nothing's there.
Kind of, there isn't a whole lot of stuff. And just that 10th time, it's where it is. And that's the thing, because we have time in our lives.
Right. That's the key.
Like, there's no way to actually, like, scientifically plan to find any of this stuff,
Exactly. So talk about your photographing random stuff in our house.
So it was, on a Monday, I just was looking around, and we have boxes of stuff. I think I talked about it last week. We have 35 boxes or crates of items we've been collecting because, we'll go to these box lots or we'll go to the flea market.
Yeah.
We always pull off the coolest stuff
that we want to sell,
the things we're interested in, and then the stuff that's not so exciting goes into this box, and I'm always like, I'll get to it. And it's
still valuable though.
Yeah, no, it's valuable, and I was like, I'm just gonna start doing this.
Yeah.
So I started pulling out boxes, and I probably took pictures of 2 of them, and
a lot of stuff.
It's like 25 or 30 items in each box.
Yeah.
It's like super random, cool.
It was the
things.
most random. I think I'm going to open my folder on my computer and see what you are photographing.
And it was cool, though. It was like shopping all over again or scavenging all over again. I was like, wow, I even forgot I
forgot about stuff. So just random stuff. I can't even begin to explain.
And that's the thing though. I always wondered if other people can do this. Can you remember where every item came from? I'm pretty good.
I think you're way better than me. I'm like, I don't even remember that.
But there are times where I'm just like, I don't even remember ever picking this up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's good, So that was the other thing. And the other thing we did was we had 3 piles of jackets and sweaters.
Boy. I was not looking forward to doing that because we model all our clothes.
And we've talked about this, that we aren't so excited about clothes, it's these days. Not that they don't sell.
Right.
It's a good thing to sell.
And we only buy, the coolest, in our opinion, sweaters and coats. Like anything that's mediocre, we're like, no.
Yeah. And, and so we just aren't as excited about it, but we committed and we took photos of all of it. We need to now measure everything. We just didn't do it because we were...
The sad thing is we basically ran out of time. We were like, we have to measure all these so we can list them while we're away, and we just couldn't. Yeah. So,
and I have noticed, I don't want to say our income has gone down, but, over the past year when we've, not emphasized clothes, we don't really sell that it's many clothes these days, jackets and stuff like that. So our income has basically stayed about the same. It's just now we're selling more of these hard
other
goods,
stuff.
And we talked about this. That's a cool thing about having an eBay store. You can have consistent income as long as you consistently list.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have to be the same thing.
Right. You can change your inventory from day to day if you want. It's cool. I like being able to do that. It's flexible.
Yeah. We didn't do it this week, but we actually were doing a little research where we found a house in our town.
Yes.
That was on sale for $28,000.
Yeah, and it was really in well, it was in bad shape, but we didn't actually go inside, but we saw pictures and talked to a real estate agent. It was in no worse shape than the house we bought that we live in. Right. And, swear to God.
And we actually went in and walked around outside. It's on a small lot.
Yeah.
The neighborhood isn't awesome, but it's and I guess some people, if they were to look at it, it could be considered a crack house.
It looks like a crack house. Yeah. But if you turn the perspective a little bit, it's a 1913 little farmhouse. I think it's really cute.
Right.
But the idea would be to buy a house like that and actually, for temporary, use it for eBay storage.
Right. I mean, it would be our goal, is to get all of our inventory in one place, because our inventory is in it's different outbuildings right now.
Yeah, it's scattered.
And we always talk about, what if we could have it all in one place?
Right.
Very well organized. Right. And really, we've thought about buying one of those manufactured buildings that would go on a back.
And those piece of cost,
a land we have
several thousand.
$20,000.
Yeah,
so
totally.
If the house is up for $28,000, we were thinking, what if we put an offer of $20,000?
Yeah, what if we just it's bank owned, it's a foreclosure.
Right.
If you had the financing or the cash or whatever, you could put in a low offer, and see if they would take it. And the beauty of buying a house instead of a manufactured building is, if you don't have an eBay store later or whatever, you can fix it up and then sell it.
Right, so it would be a place where we would store eBay items.
Right.
And then you could slowly fix it up.
Right.
Redo the outside, pull off all that vinyl, put on a new roof or fix the roof. And then, and then on the inside, probably have to put new plumbing in it.
Yeah, just all the things you have to do to make it a cool house to either sell or rent as a vacation rental or, rent as a regular rental, anything. Yeah. So that to us is an interesting idea. It's like a dual purpose building, basically.
And we've talked about this too. Is that it's interesting as people that sell on eBay to try and think of diversifying income. Some people talk about diversifying income by I need to make sure I can make its money on Amazon and eBay and Etsy. Our thing is, how can we diversify income where our income isn't just coming from selling online?
Yeah. And plus, I think we're suckers for punishment, because we just are we like redoing houses. I think we've realized that.
It's fun,
Oh my God.
So this week we really didn't have any customer issues. We had
I had one guy who had to cancel because we were shipping late yesterday. But he was cool. He was like, "Oh, I need it earlier."
Well,
that's it.
Well, we did have a guy send back, or he wanted to return a pair of shoes, and he used hassle-free its return, and we got a message from eBay the next day that it had come. But what happened was
Yeah, so this was weird. He said the same day that he got them, I need to return them. We said open hassle-free returns. And then the next day it was marked delivered. So I go out to the post office box and I look on our porch. I can't find them anywhere. I'm like, what? And then I clicked on the tracking that eBay sent, and it actually got sent back to him. Like, I think he messed up the box or something. So the weird thing is, on hassle-free returns, they mark it as delivered and you need to give the refund back. So I'm like, clearly this wasn't delivered to me, which is obviously a flaw in their system.
Yeah, it's a flaw where it doesn't recognize where it should
have gone to.
It just said it got delivered somewhere.
And what's interesting is, if you really wanted to scam the system, I guess, you would put any tracking number in, and it could get delivered to the UK. And you're like, well, I clearly don't live there.
I wonder if that's true. That's interesting.
I mean, he put in, well, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, maybe that's not true.
Well, I wonder, I mean, I'm assuming it takes a tracking number because
he printed a label. You're correct.
Yeah.
He printed a label. So the thing was, I called eBay to be like, what am I supposed to do here? And they just said wait a few days because he had just opened it the day before to see if it gets either delivered to us or the tracking changes. So I'll have to keep people updated on that because clearly I'm not going to refund his money if I don't get the item back. Yeah. And there's no proof that it got to me. So
but
that's a weird one.
Other than that, it's been good. I mean, you know, I know everyone was worried about, you know, how eBay was pushing us into the extended holiday returns.
We've had no problems with that.
That wouldn't really start yet. So, I mean, we'll see after the holidays if we start getting a lot
all these returns.
Weird returns from like it's November, but so far, you know,
so far nothing. Yeah, people like their stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I did buy a light box.
Yes, this was interesting
for two reasons. Number one, a listener wrote to me, I don't know, a month or two ago and said he's got a light box. Basically, it's like a small little tent. It's like just a cheap,
it's for taking photos. Did you mention that? That's what it's for.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you know. So it's for taking its photos. Like we just do its natural light right now. We think it works fine
with a white background.
But I thought I would do an experiment where, yeah, it's like a light box. It's like a white.
It's like a tent, a little tent.
And, you know, it's like 2 feet by 2 feet.
Yeah.
And then you just put some lights on the outside, and the tent kind of makes the light real soft. And the item goes in the box, and then you stand there in front of the box and take
it's diffused
photos. And it would be for things that are, you know, like smallish, you know.
Yeah,
it's
smaller
not too
things
big.
that will fit in a cube.
And it's noticing on Martin's website on garbagefinds.com. I really love the look of his photos, and I don't know if he does a light box, but it looks like
it. It looks like that. So we were sitting there. We bought one on eBay
for whatever,
$16 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I'm excited to try that because we do already have lights. We have daylight, you know, photographers' lights that we can put on the outside. So that'll be interesting. Okay, so we're talking about things we learned in the comments, right?
Yep. So this is
the big
one this week.
This is the big one, which should not be a big deal, but I made it into a big deal.
This is getting into the weeds of eBay. Okay. So if you're new, just
mute this part because you'll be bored. Okay, so in the comments, Brian mentioned that he was having trouble with his items not being in the global shipping program, even though everything was checked for global shipping. He called eBay, and after some figuring out on their end, they were like, oh, you don't have package dimensions in your shipping information. Therefore, global shipping won't get picked up on any of these listings. That's new. They clearly changed that without telling anyone.
Right.
So that's a problem because eBay has never required you to put any package dimensions in.
Right. I mean, if it's something they needed you to do,
right,
it should have like a star by it like they have other
like you forgot your title.
Like
you know?
if you don't put this in there, we won't accept it. But you can, and everyone has been, or at least we have been, putting items on eBay without
package
telling them
dimensions.
how big the box
Unless
is.
in my case, when we sell something oversized, an oversized piece of artwork, I put dimensions in that now. I've learned my lesson that I have to do that. But so for me, and so I checked my listings because after he said that, I noticed I keep selling to people in other countries and it keeps going directly to their country, not through Kentucky. So clearly my stuff is not showing up in global shipping either. So I called eBay, and with much finagling on their end, they're like, yeah, you don't have package dimensions. And I got kind of livid, actually. I was like, no one ever told me I had to do this. There was no announcement about this. I was getting pretty mad, actually. And usually I'm very calm when I talk to the customer service reps because they're trying to help me and they're usually pretty nice, whatever. But I was getting pissed because a couple things. They changed the program. They didn't tell anyone. And it's the week before Christmas. So my stuff is like not qualifying for global shipping at the same time. So with that, what we know is because I have an alternative shipping method priority for international for countries that don't qualify, people can still buy my stuff. And they just pay for it directly to their house.
I mean, it's just now we're doing it the old way.
Right.
Where if someone buys, we do priority international, but
right to their house.
And we do, insurance on it.
Yeah, I
so
put insurance.
We just like the global shipping program because it's nice. You just send it to Kentucky and they handle it from there.
Right.
So, normally it lets stuff like this roll off our back because it's kooky eBay, just like this big... bulky corporation that never knows what the right hand's doing from the left. But it's just annoying because, it's a pretty big deal. And I couldn't find anything on the eBay website about it. They didn't send out...
No documentation.
Unless it just a sudden it didn't work.
Right.
I think that, I can see why they do it. Probably because someone freaked out in Kentucky.
Yep.
Because they're like, people are sending us boxes that are big.
That are too big to go to these countries.
Like, it might only weigh 3 pounds, but it's like,
massive.
In a 2x3 foot box,
So they're either, and I think she said this to me on the phone, she's like, they're having to pick up that cost because they told everyone they could ship it.
Right.
So they're like, no.
Right. So it's just, it just really feels like unprofessional.
Yeah. Unprepared.
Just,
they should have known that they needed dimensions a year ago.
Or, or at least accept that they made its mistake.
Right.
And they should give people a 2-week window to fix it. But the good thing is, again, is that that's why we love the people on the blog.
Yes, this is amazing.
It's Marjana? It's Margana.
We don't know how to say your name. We're sorry.
Yeah. It's one of those weird blog names people have. And we don't know if it's a man or
a woman.
This
person explained
exactly how to do bulk editing.
Yeah, so I don't know if all people who have stores can do bulk editing, but there is a bulk editor where you can go in and what you should do is go category by category because different things will be different sizes. And just put in some dimensions using the bulk editor. She describes how to do it where you go down to the bulk editor, put in the dimensions, and choose custom weight, and then delete the zeros. Because that will keep the weight you had for all your items.
So you can do a 500 at a time.
Yeah.
So for those of us, that have, over 500 items, it would take weeks to
do it
all that one by one.
Are you kidding me? Oh.
So only if you have a store did you do the bulk editor.
I have to check that. People should fact check that and correct me. I think it's only if you have Seller Manager Pro, which is like the middle store up. But I'm not sure. So
when people ask us if they should have a store or not, this is one of those examples of if you have a large enough inventory, this is one of those tools that eBay gives you to...
because you have to be able to bulk
Because,
edit.
like when we're out of town right now and we want to change our handling time...
I bulk edit.
It takes you, 5 minutes or 10 minutes? Tell me.
It probably takes like between 15 to 30 minutes to bulk edit because
it's like 35.
because it's like, yeah, almost 4,000 items. So I have to go 500 by 500 by 500, which is fine. It's easy. It's just time consuming.
Right. But it's
worth it. We have to do it.
But it's possible.
It is possible, yes.
Yep.
So that's the solution for that.
Yeah.
It sucks really bad.
And Brian, who I think he has over 2,000 items.
Yeah.
I mean, he said when he got on the phone to talk to eBay, he actually convinced them
to compensate him.
So they gave him a month subscription, and he's got the Anchor store like we do. So I guess that's $150
it's like
bucks off.
$150, $170.
They didn't do that for us, but we're gonna keep trying because
they would not do it. I was like, I went into like a mode that I do not go into very often, but I was just like, I pay eBay thousands of dollars a year. I was pissed. I was so mad. I actually apologized to her. I was like, I'm sorry. I should not. It's not your fault. It's just,
Yeah.
I think what's crazy is it's not that they changed it. It's that they didn't tell anyone so that we could fix our store. I'll gladly fix my store. Just tell me.
Yep.
Just tell me to do it. Anywho.
And just one last thing that someone emailed me.
I didn't see this email. This is great.
Yeah, it's a guy who emails me. I forget his name. He doesn't ever put his name in his email.
He just randomly emails you.
He's like, it's my blog friend, but I don't know his name.
Tell us who you are. So they said they had a mug quote that I clearly need to make.
Yep.
Describe it as if there were no pictures. Take pictures as if there was no description.
Yeah.
And you know what? They're right.
It's like an ancient Chinese.
It's like a Zen.
Whoa, and I love it. I was telling him I wasn't sure if that would fit on a mug.
I think if it's small enough type, it's going to be like really small type.
Yeah,
but
so all of our mugs have been like really kind of outrageous and ridiculous.
Awesome.
So this will be the nice like...
The Zen quote.
Cone.
Yeah, that's a good one. I will make that mug, so you should go check. Yeah, I'll absolutely make that mug. That's hilarious.
So just kind of wrap up. So is this week for us?
Yes.
It's New York till we got 9 more days here.
Yeah.
We are going to list.
Yep.
We have stuff to list, and we'll keep selling. And then like today, it's this morning. It's Sunday. And we're going to go to some of the...
some flea markets. Things.
I doubt we're going to buy anything because these are like the more high-end flea markets.
We're going to look at the trash behind the flea market, basically.
But it's always, again, this is more research for us. I mean, these will probably be like the antique dealers, the real pickers, and they're selling to the New York designers.
Yeah.
And we'll see the kind of prices they charge, the kind of things they have. I often find little items where I'm really interested in them, and I'll ask about them, and I'll learn about it. So.
It's research, basically.
I
mean, it's not so much that we need to be sourcing this stuff; it's that we need to see what prices they have and what kind of stuff they
those
have.
of it you hear, there's a couple of them up by Hell's Kitchen up there in Chelsea. So
yeah, Chelsea and Hell's Kitchen. So I think we're gonna put our knit hats on because it's freezing outside and walk up there.
Yeah, I guess they'd be out there if it's cold, but it's not too bad.
I thought they were indoor flea markets.
Well, it's one indoor and then 2 outdoor.
We'll check it out, and then we'll kick some garbage bags like Martin.
And then actually, because we just happened to come here, Orion's family decided to come down.
Yeah, so my brother lives like a block from us, my brother and his wife. And so then, of course, my mom, who's in Boston, was like, I'm coming down. So it's like, we're literally having a family Christmas, which is hilarious because I did not think that would happen.
It's kind of a rare thing.
Yeah. So that's kind of fun. So we do have a call-in number if you want to call in and leave a question. We will be answering questions this week. We have a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, we apologize for everyone who's called. We have not forgotten.
We have them all.
Things has kind of got out of our control, and so we're going to do a big podcast where we play everyone's question or comment, and then and we hope to make that kind of a weekly thing.
Yeah.
If people send in enough comments.
So the phone number is 540 407-8486. And just call and leave a message and ask us a question.
And I guess what we're looking for specifically now is we love to hear people call in and say what they're going to do for 2015. Like, if
are they going to change things up?
If you're going to do anything differently, what did you learn? I mean, yeah, like what kind of new strategies or experiments you're going to do. We would love to hear that because we always learn a lot from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our next podcast, we'll probably talk about 2015 since we have some plans for ourselves.
Clearly, Jay has some plans that he hasn't shared with
Ryan
me.
has no idea. I've a whole list of stuff.
Oh my God. Okay, this podcast is ending in 3, 2, 1.